Because every time I turn around and I try to do a live stream, I swear something stupid always goes wrong. Or, you know, a storm decides to come, or, you know, something else. Putting some shadowing in there. And I'm putting in this different shadowing in different places. Like there's Agrat's Earthshade in some parts, and then I'm going back in and doing this shadow in some other parts. And since it's fur, it's hard to go through and you know, make sure you got every single spot. It can be pretty tedious. It's like fur is fun to paint, but depending on what level of paint you want to do, it could be very tedious trying to sit there and make sure you got every little spot. Where do you get those cool stands from? Okay, these are from Anyway Designs. These that you see that I got these mounted on. I love these. And they're made out of actual wood. Birch, or either birch wood or plywood if I'm not mistaken. So let me put the name here for you. Anyway Designs. And the gentleman that you talked to is Tim Martin. And they sell them in sets of 9. I mean, I guess you can get smaller sets too, you know, if you just want them on your desk, but he actually has it where there's a rack to display them on also. So it's not just, yeah, of course. You are very welcome. Okay, I'm looking here. All right, it's like subtle shadowing. It's not crazy. I didn't want it to be crazy anyway. And I'm gonna get more of that skeletal bone color once that shadowing dries. But in the meantime, I currently use an empty relish bottle. Hey, there's nothing wrong with that. We're not judging. Man, you'd be surprised. Dude, you want to see something funny? Here, watch this. Hold up. Let me grab this for you. I'll show you this. Ugh. Ugh. All right, so Red Bull used to sell energy shots, right? I got quite a few of them. Actually, I got rid of some of them not too long ago once Tim made me these mounts, but this is what I was using to hold the models on. were these Red Bull energy shot bottles. So so no judging's happening here, honey. I promise you that. What if I did a rust color on there? That would probably look really cool, right? And mix that with skeletal bone. I'm gonna try that out. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. You can't stop me. Use the secret weapon, red rust. And I'm thinking I'm gonna mix that with some skeleton bone. And I'm gonna randomly dry brush it on some of the fur. I'm thinking I'm gonna try that out and see how that looks. Could be fun. We'll see. They don't sell the Red Bull energy shots anymore, though. I mean, I can't imagine why, right? But yeah, dude, you can use the 5-hour energy shot bottles. There was also this one company that made coffee, these coffee shots or something like that. You know, it was like energy shots, but they flavored them in coffee, you know. So you know, I picked some of that up, and I ended up using those for to mount figures onto before Tim made me these. And I sat there with him one day and I said, you know, what if you turn around and you know, made some things that I can mount figures on and everything. And the other reason why we were thinking about it was because Brandon has huge hands. So what happens is sometimes when he's trying to grab on a mount, such as the Red Bull Energy Shot bottles that I was showing you, he can't really grip on them properly. So then Tim was like, I got you. Hold up. So he turned around and he made these mounts. So I got a bunch of them. And Brandon has some in his setup. I've been bugging Brandon, by the way, to take a picture of his setup that Tim just did up for him. Well, to him and Tim did it together. And I should bug him to take a picture of his setup to show all he is, because I think you'll like it. And his set is good for relatively smaller spaces. You know what I mean? And me, I got a very big. I have a very big setup, obviously, but like he has a really nice one for smaller tables. I mean, not tiny, but by no means, but like say like a small dining table or something like that. And he's got his setup fits that. I'm drinking some espresso. Where is my skeleton? Oh, there it is. See, so I put some of that rust, and you see how it subtly adds some color. That's what I was trying to do. You know, just to give it some more oomph, if you will. And I wanted him to look kind of like one of those, what you'd see in like cartoony or fantasy books, you know, whatever, like a Wendigo, those, not the, maybe it's not a Wendigo. No, why was I even thinking that? Like, oh, I remember why, because Reaper Miniatures, when they had the Warlord game, I think they had Wendigos and they were like white with some blue shadowing and stuff like that. Maybe that's why I was thinking about that. But maybe make these more like an abomination, like a snowman, a snow yeti or something, if you will. See, I think that sounds more right. See, now everybody doesn't think I'm as crazy anymore sitting there saying Wendigo. Because also when I hear Wendigo, I'm thinking of like when Jess Rich wore that really super cool costume, and it was all like with the black fur and everything, with the heels. I don't know if you ever seen it, but anyway, if you check the pictures from ReaperCon a couple of years ago, she wore this really awesome cosplay of a Wendigo. It looked so awesome, and I definitely give her massive props because she wore those crazy ass heels that were all like inverted and backwards and God knows what else, and she didn't even fall and break her ass. So I give her like serious massive props for that. That's like beyond a shadow of a doubt. I'm using the skeleton bone color, and I'm highlighting the hands with it too. When it goes a figure in the Windwalker faction of Cthulhu Wars along with the Gnopf Keh. Oh well, then maybe that's how I sat there and was thinking that too. I don't know. I kept having that word stuck in my head, and I was like, I think I'm gonna paint it to look like a Wendigo. But this figure, yes, this figure is called the Gnopf Keh. And I did see when the artwork that was used on it, you know, the painted ones that were shown in their Kickstarter that they were in from 2013. It looked like he was more like all around lighter colored flesh, you know, what have you. And I sat there, and the whole time I've been painting these guys, and these guys are fun to paint, by the way. So that's why you need to get in on this Kickstarter and get these. And they're not hard to paint either. But every time I've been painting one of these models, I keep sitting there thinking, what can I do to make this look totally way out? So I was like, oh, I do blue. That looks fun. Thank you, thank you. Skulls, are you going to be, you might have already told me this and I forgot, I'm not sure, I am old and senile and tired as hell. Are you going to Gen Con? Did you tell me that you were going to Gen Con? Okay. All right, this isn't bad. Okay, okay. I'm thinking I want to go a little deeper on the lines with the horns. I'm thinking. That's what I was thinking. No Gen Con for you? Oh, honey, I'm sorry. But don't worry, we're going to be doing live footage all throughout. I mean, not the entire time, obviously, because I have to, you know, Brandon and I are teaching 18 classes, so we're not going to be, you know, doing every single minute of Gen Con, but we will catch as much of it for you as we can, and it will be up on Facebook and YouTube. That's you know, because it's funny when I want to use YouTube Live during a convention, it seems to work just fine. But if you want me to sit there and do it for painting, something's gonna go wrong. So I'll probably just make sure not to do that unless I'm feeling a little daring. All right. Sounds like a good time. Would love to take some painting classes. Yes, would love for you to take painting classes. You should totally do it. It's fun. It's fun, fun, fun. I'm thinking I might do the rust red on the for the lines on the horns. I think I'm gonna try that. I'm gonna see how that looks. Just curious. Ooh, that looks pretty. I like this color. I love rust colors. They're so pretty. I mean, granted, I should probably go more like a dark brown, but I mean, like, if I can do both, why not, right? The first initial shading that you see on there from underneath is the Agrax Earthshade. It's like Frank's Red Hot. You put that shit on everything. And I'm using my finger to kind of wipe off a little bit of excess, put a little more on some spots than I wanted to. Ooh, that's cute. That added a little more color. I like that. I like. I approve. Looking to see if if I'm missing anything. Oh yeah. And my back desperately feels like it needs to be correct. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go over Skeleton Bone. And I'm going over the parts where there would be more highlighting happening. And on the teeths. He's got teeths. That looks better. Yay! I'm trying to find the white. There we go. Now, mind you, you don't have to use the, you don't have to have Reaper Bones in order to paint with the Bones paint. So just so that we're clear. Because there are some people who ask me that. They're like, are they only for Bones minis? Nope, you can use them for regular too. So now I'm using that Dragon White, and what I'm doing is I'm making sure to hit where there would be the most highlighting. So obviously the light would hit the most here around the tummy. And probably over here in the arms. Oop, there was a little more dry brushing than I wanted to do on there, but that's okay actually, because you can take your finger and just spread it around. Some on there. And it might not be crazy in your face noticeable, but you do notice that there's a little more brightness. And what I'm doing here is because there's a little bit of a bump with the fur here and over here. So I'm gonna make sure to highlight that. And of course, obviously, I want to really hit the bottom there. And get the other elbow because we can't neglect it. Get the top of the head. And I'm being gentle. I'm just going like that, 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 that. Like kind of tapping on it, not even trying to go crazy on it. Kind of checking around, seeing how I feel about it. All right. Then I'm thinking I can probably even touch on the base some. The skill that I did on the base, you'll find in a video that I did with the first Cthulhu Wars live stream. I explained how I went about doing the stones, all the colors that you see. I used GW shades, Agrax Earthshade, Reikland Flesh Shade. Wait, not on this one. Did I use Reikland Flesh Shade? No, I used Agrax Earthshade, Cohelia Green Shade, Drakenhof Nightshade, which is the blue. Oh, and Null Noil. That's what I did on those ones. But there's other times that I'll do the stones and use Reikland Flesh Shade too. And that would be either along with all of them or minus one of them. It just kind of depends on the mood. But basically what it does is it adds different layers of color onto the stone. And then you can highlight it up with some light colored flesh colors, some grays. I'm just lightly going over with white in this case on these. But yeah, other than that, you can use light. I might still go over again with a light flesh shade just to add a little more, so it doesn't look so plain, which I kind of feel like it does, but it could be just me. We're always our own worst critic. Where is it? Ah. Like this is the skin color I've been using. Getting some fair skin. Gonna get ready to dry brush that on to the stone, just so that we're clear. And I know I'm sitting here streaming while everybody's at work, but unfortunately at my job I work either the entire day while everybody else is working, or I work from pretty much the time everybody gets home from work until way past the time that everybody's asleep and a couple hours away from getting up for work. And if you hear meowing, that's my cat sitting here being upset that he's outside the door, because he always has to be right next to me all the time. Yes, Ollie, come in. Hi, baby. Hi, lover James. Oh, I'm double checking the figure real quick. I'm painting. What are you doing? Cool. Okay, so I don't know if you've ever seen the original picture of the Gnopf Keh, and I'm going to show it to you. But the original one has, like, I took a screenshot of it so that way I can use it as a guide. I'll show you what the original one looks like. Is this it here? Yeah, there we go. I don't know how well you can see it. But the original Gnopf Keh was done in beiges and whites and some brown. And it had pretty much same color arms and legs that I did there. And then they had blood all over them. See, okay, good. I was making sure that the picture would show at least somewhat. Yeah, so they have blood on them. So I'm going to put some blood on it, which will be fun. And it is called, I don't know if you've ever used this before. Actually, a lot of people ask me about this one. Citadel Technical Blood for the Blood God. Now, if you don't have blood for the blood god, there's other ways that you can go about doing it too. You can do things like you can use like red paint or red ink, and then you can go over with gloss sealer in order to give the wet blood look. You can always do that if you don't have that. Or another way that you can do blood, hold on, let me grab it. Okay. Tamiya in clear red, X27. That dries shiny and stuff too. Oh, sorry, you can't really see that in the camera, can you? But yeah, there's Tamiya X27 in clear red. And this also comes in other colors too that you can use for different stuff. Like there's also clear green. You can use that for goo, like if you wanted goo or slime. And they dry shiny too, so it saves the, and here's clear yellow. So we have that in a few colors that we use for different things. You can use for blood and gore effects and stuff like that. So all right, so blood for the blood god. I'm going to sit there and just do it straight out of the pot. That's basically how, they want you, supposedly you can use it. So I'm taking it straight out of the pot. Otherwise, it won't have, if you like thin it and use other stuff with it, supposedly it won't have the same effect. So you kind of want to do it without that. And so I have the blood for the blood god and put it in his mouth, make him look all, and I'm not trying to be neat with it. I'm not trying to be perfect or anything with it, because otherwise, what's the point? What are you doing, So I'm just kind of putting it. If it ends up on the horns, whatever, who cares? And there we go. We got some on the mouth there. And put some in the mouth too. That way it gets really in there. Oh boy, he don't look happy, huh? And then they had some on the hands, so you just paint it on the hands there. Mind you, like I said, I'm not adding anything to it. I'm not adding any additives, no sealer, nothing to it, in the initial mix. to get it on there. Otherwise it won't have that whole wet blood look going on or anything like that. So somebody asked me if I was planning on bringing these figures to Gen Con, and that I should, so that they could see them in person. And some people asked about that, so I probably will be bringing these to Gen Con. I'll put them in my figure case if I can. I have to bring quite a few things, actually, so. I'm thinking if the hands are this drenched in blood, then I might need to go a little more on the face. And get some on the tootsies, get some on the feet. And I'm putting some on the base too. So that way it's got that whole, oh my god, so gross. It's a horror scene. Yeah, I like that. Alright. I almost feel like the blood sat there and basically changed the whole piece. Oh boy. I love this stuff, by the way, if I've never told you that before. See? Quick and easy. Easy peasy, my friends. And it looks like actual blood, too. It's really funny. I guess with the exception of the clotting and stuff. But yeah, that's blood for the blood god. And I'm sitting here thinking that if you are going through and you're just trying to quickly paint a model and just trying to get it on the table, you could potentially pretty much call it done. Unless you want to add more to it. But right now, to be honest with you, I'm looking at it and I don't really see other things that I want to do to it. At least not right now. And that happens too sometimes, is that, oh wait, real quick. That happens is when you're sitting there and you're working on a model and you're looking at different things that you want to do to it. Excuse me. Sometimes you just, after a bit, you don't really see anything else that you want to do to it right now, and that's totally fine. I mean, if anything, you just sleep on it for a bit, as they say. Just sleep on it, see if you know, and then go back and look at it a couple of days later. And this especially applies with competition pieces. You definitely want to do that for competition pieces, provided as long as you're not in a rush, which, yeah, story of our life, right? Okay, that was the only thing I did see right away, is that I wanted to add a little more shadowing to show a separation between the fur and the horn. But other than that, for like quick tabletop paint, and you're just trying to get it up on the table, I think I can call this dude good. See, and the blood for the blood god is pretty much dry, and that's how it dries. It dries all shiny and wet, just like that. And I put some of it on the base too. I don't know how well you can see it if I do it like that, but it probably looks weird. But yeah. At least you have an idea and you see what that looks like. So we're going to put this dude aside. Yay! You're going to Gen Con! Woo! Alright. Now we got this dude. And this one is called the Gug. G-U-G. So here's what we did on this bro. We used Stynylrez Primer in Ebony Flesh, which comes out to a really nice brown color when you use it. So I honestly suggest that you get it. And then I also used Stynylrez in Neutral Yellow Primer. And what I'm planning to do here is I'm looking at the hands, and I'm probably going to go over and do another coat on the hands. And then I will go over the hands in Agrax Earthshade. All the shading that you see here is Agrax Earthshade. If you look at the previous stream, you see that I did a spot on the tummy all here in the yellow. And it looked much brighter before I put the Agrax Earthshade in. but I made sure I put about, I think I want to say I want to put like a couple of layers of the Agrax Earth shade on there. And I did that because I wanted it to look like it all tied in together, which I think I did a pretty decent job of doing for a quickly painted model. And then in here, in the mouth, what I did was I did a, where is the color that I used? I used a rose colored, a rose flesh color in the mouth was what I did, if I remember right anyway. Here it is, I think. The P3 in Cardic Flesh. And then what I did after I put, once the flesh dried, is I used GW Shade and Carroburg Crimson. Again, I transferred this to a dropper bottle. So, but yeah, then I put Carroburg Crimson, and that's how I got the wash effect, you know, with the shadowing, and it looks more natural. That's how I did that. Okay. The teeth were done in the Reaper skeleton bone. And then also went over those with Agrax Earthshade. Now you're going to see that when I go through and highlight them at the same time, you'll see that the teeth will get neatened up and stuff like that. The claws, I think I'm going to end up doing them like I'm probably going to end up doing them black. I thought about doing natural colored claws, but then I sat there and thought that it might look a little too plain. I'm not sure, you know. But when I do the highlighting on here over the ebony flesh, I am going to use a couple of different colors just to give the fur some definition, you know, make it look prettier and what have you. So that's the plan. I don't honestly think that I'm going to add blood to this one. I don't think that it had it on there. No, I don't think it did. I don't remember seeing any anyway. So I'm starting by putting the Badger Stynel Res yellow, neutral yellow primer, putting that in the palette, because again, like I said, I'm going to go through and do another layer on the hands, just because I want to make sure that it's covered properly, because I feel like some spots look a little. Now, another thing that a person might like about using Stynel Res primer for quickly painting models, besides the fact that it primes, also just in general, it does have really good coverage. And I say this because usually, say when you're painting with the regular paints, that 3 to 5 coats is standard. And with the exception of the lighter color from going over a darker color on these Stynel Res primers, when I sat there and did, for example, the Gnopf Keh with the blue, I think I only had to go over that like, I think I only had to do like a couple of coats, and it was pretty much, we can call it good, you know. I'm kind of just trying to make sure that that's all even. All right. Going under the fingers, you want to make sure to do that. There we go. Alright, so in the meantime, while I'm letting that dry, I'm going to work on other parts of the figure. So again, like I said, for example, going over the, you know, highlighting the teeth, doing dry brushing on the rest of the fur. I mean, these are all things that we can do, you know, while we're waiting on that to dry. Oh, also we can do some dry brushing on the stone. Actually, I think I got some flesh color that's still... And this dry brush that you see here is one of the older GW dry brushes. when your brushes turn to crap and you know, become unusable for painting, don't throw them away, because there's a zany of different things that you can use your brushes for. Terrain, glue, applying certain putties. Just so many different things that you can use it for. And you don't want to, obviously you don't want to use basically things you wouldn't necessarily use your good brushes for. You just sit there and make sure you have an arsenal of crap brushes, and then you're like, oh, I'll just use you guys. Or like when you're experimenting using certain products you never used before. Because I mean, if you had to pick, what would you rather ruin if something doesn't work out with a different kind of product? You'd rather use your Series 7 or your Raphael or your Da Vinci's, or would you rather just use a crap brush or a cheapy brush? That's another thing to always be on the lookout for when you go to Michael's or Hobby Lobby and stuff, and you see that they have brushes on sale, synthetics and stuff, and they'll be on sale for like $4 or whatever. Make sure to grab those, because you'd be surprised. It's another thing that you can do for when you're trying to test out different stuff instead of using your better, more expensive brushes, you know? And then for airbrushes, when you want to sit there and experiment with stuff on the airbrushes or for crap work and whatever, you can get cheap airbrushes on like eBay for 15 bucks. As a matter of fact, if I remember right, I think Aaron from Miniature Monthly, he sits there and he buys all those airbrushes in bulk. He buys like 10 or 15 of them at a time, and he uses them for like you know, for army, you know, for painting armies and stuff. And then he turns around and, you know, when they crap out, it's whatever. He just throws them away. It don't bother him, no nothing. I got the Skeleton Bone. I think I'm going to use that to dry brush on the tummy. And then I'll probably use it on the stone. So that way I'm not wasting. Because obviously, if you see here, this obviously is not a big spot on the tummy. So I'm not going to... I might not use all the paint. So rather than waste... Yeah. Already you see the difference. So I use Skeleton Bone. I'm just double checking real quick, seeing if there's, because since I have the camera there for you guys to see, there's some certain spots I can't see while I'm working. So I'm just getting the top of the stones real quick. There we go. Yay. All right, now I'm going to pick some colors there for the fur besides the in the tummy. I think I'm going to go back in with some dragon white. Do that. Probably use while I'm thinking about it. I saw that I still had some skeleton bone left, so I'm using it on the teeth. always look around and see areas of opportunity to use leftover paint. So, for example, if you have what we like to call, what us painters like to call a shelf of shame. Shelf of shame is when you have models that you started working on, never finished them, at least not yet anyway. Then you would go through and see if any of your shelf of shame models can use the colors that you have left over, or ink that you have left over, stuff like that. Or see if there's areas of opportunity to use them on other parts of a model. Oop. It don't belong on there, but that's okay. I can go back over that with Agric shade. Cover that up. There we go. Now we're starting to see some highlighting happening on those teeths. I'm using that to kind of make it stand up some for you. There we go. I saw I had some of the Secret Weapon sepia left over, so I might use that to wash instead of the Agrax Earthshade. The sepia has more harder dark browns in it, whereas the Agrax Earthshade has more of a rich brown color, at least from what I see here. But either way, since there's browns in the fur and stuff, it'll still work out. And I just realized here that there's a hand on the bottom. And for the longest time, I mean, while I understood that there was a hand there, it was like for some reason, it just looked like it was sculpted a little different than the rest. And so I didn't right away think to myself, oh yeah, I gotta put that one yellow too. But that's okay. We can avert this crisis. Letting that coat dry. Alright, so I think I'm going to do I think I want to do some, I think, I like the red rust from Secret Weapons, so I think I'm going to grab that again. Trying to see what else there is. No, I don't think I want to do that color. Oh. Reaper and polished leather. That'll look nice. I like that color. I think that's one of the newer ones too. It's a Bones one. So like I said, this is the Ebony Flesh, the brown. And then I washed over all of it with Agrax Earthshade by GW, just so that we're clear. And right now I'm doing the Rust Red by Secret Weapon. And I'm dry brushing it over highlighted parts of the fur. But right now I'm not being specific about where I'm putting it because I'm just doing it right now to add more color to the flesh is my goal here right now. I'm going to do some more. I don't know if it's going to be hard to see on the camera, but if anything, you could probably see them in person at Gen Con. See that the Rust Red adds some more oomph, as they say, to the color. When you do dry brushing, you want to make sure to go against the grain, so to speak. So, in other words, the fur points downward, so you go across and up and down and all this good stuff. Because I say up and down because with some of the hair on the arms and stuff. Oh wow, so that red looks nice. Yeah, I really like that. Now I'm going to do the polished leather. And here's how the polished leather looks from the palette. Sorry if I'm moving stuff around. That's what it looks like. It's a yellow. It's a yellow brown. And I figured since I did the hands in a neutral yellow that it would, you know, make it kind of tie in together. I'm trying to make sure to at least finish. So we finished the Gnopf Keh, and I'm going to try and at least finish this guy before I get off and get ready for work. And for those who didn't make it to watch it, to watch this one now, probably have to download the video and fix it a little because of what happened with the computer deciding to restart itself, and because of the fact that for a few minutes I had to sit there and screw around and reset the microphone settings because I had no sound. What I was trying to do, and I think where the problem was I was trying to do it where there was music, stream safe music, whatever, playing in the background while I was talking, so that way you don't hear me like just breathing in between the silence, because that could be a little boring and maybe even sound a little creepy. And apparently somehow that just didn't work out. Maybe if this keeps up, I might have to start singing to you while I'm painting, or make up some kooky gaming related rap songs or something. I don't know. Ooh, I like the way this is coming out. This polished leather color is the bee's knees. My sister, it looks like she's on hold, finding out about a job or something, and they have this elevator music playing. I'm not sure if that's stream safe, but... Ooh, what's this one? Oh, this is a GW color. I'm wondering if I should do like an orange or something. Like they have this Volcanic Orange. This is a Reaper Bones color too. This color is so nice. I love this color. As a matter of fact, I might just use it just for funsies. Maybe I'll mix it with that polished leather. That might be fun. This is a GW color too. I think this is a foundation color, if I remember right. Some like mustard yellow color. I think I'm going to mix Volcanic Orange with the polished leather and try and live dangerously. I still have to pack my paints for Gen Con of what I'm bringing. I had so much stuff to work on. So I have to decide what I'm bringing to work on and then do paints based on that. But I have so many. Like we literally have like about 600 or 700 paints altogether. But of course, obviously I can't bring all of those to Gen Con. That would just be a lot to bring, number one. Oh, so this is the Volcanic Orange I was showing you mixed with the polished leather. That don't look bad, doesn't it? I like it. That's pretty. Ooh. Ooh. Now I'm checking on the hand. I'm going to do another coat of that. Now, if I did this straight over white or whatever, I wouldn't have to do as many coats, but this is because I'm doing it over the ebony flesh. And that, my friends, is why you are seeing me having to go through and do a few coats. But this should be good after this one. Thank goodness for espresso. I'm going to do that mustard yellow now. I think I'm going to even try and mix it in with the, that way there could be a couple of things going on with the flesh. With the fur, I mean. How mustard is this? Ooh, berry mustard. Touch, touch, touch. Dry brush. Touch, touch, touch. I wonder when a bunch of yous are leaving for Gen Con. Some people already left. We leave tomorrow afternoon because I'm scheduled to work up until tomorrow morning. So if I seem a little cranky when I get it, when I make it in on Wednesday, because Brandon and I are driving straight through, please don't take it personally. Or if I'm quiet, because when I'm that tired, I tend to be pretty quiet. I don't really get cranky unless people, make me cranky by doing stupid things or give an attitude or stuff like that. So I'm usually not mean unless I'm provoked. So, but other than that, when I'm really tired, I just tend to be very quiet. See, what you're hearing is on hold music for, if you're even hearing it, is the on hold music for employees at IKEA. I like that. Oh, I did these mustards and rusts and all that good stuff. But I feel like we need to go up one more step. I really do. I feel this needs to happen. So I'm trying to think. Maybe I should just do an orange. Maybe I should do that pumpkin orange. Maybe we should just do it. Reaper has a pumpkin orange. It was a promo color. Trying to remember when this was from. Maybe it was from the last Reaper Con or Artist Con or something. I don't know. It was from a while back, but I absolutely love this color. If you don't go to Reaper events, like ReaperCon and stuff like that, like you totally should, because that's when they come out with like these promo colors, or at least, get a ninja shopper for yourself or something. Just be like, I need this color in my life. Okay, yeah, see, that, my friends, is what I was talking about. I was like, we need a little more oomph going on, and that's what we just did. Trying to get that where the teeth are and stuff. There's like a little bit of flesh there. I'm trying to at least touch on giving that some highlighting. That looks pretty good. So now I think what I'm going to do, I'm going back and getting Stilton Bone. I know I use this, I seem to be using this color a lot. I just got this one at World Expo. And I'm doing the skeleton bone because what I want to do is I'm barely touching. I'm getting all the most highlighted parts. And also because I'm making sure to do it right after doing that orange is so that potentially if there's some that's still wet a little bit, it'll kind of mix together. And that's kind of exactly what just happened there on the shoulder and the arm. So it looks really cool. Just touching on it, not trying to be too specific. You know, I'll tell you the truth about something with fur. I have actual OCD. I have mild. Now it's mild OCD. It was more severe when I was younger, and I had to go to therapy for it and stuff when I was younger, so I can actually function in the outside world. And otherwise, I'd be so afraid of germs, I wouldn't be able to like hardly leave the house and stuff like that. So, anyways, I am extremely meticulous when it comes to, you know, how certain things should look and everything. So the reason why I'm telling you this is because if you've seen the Star Wars Wicket that I've painted, which is one of my favorite models that I've ever had, ever owned, and what have you, besides being a huge Star Wars fan, one of the things that happened was I got a silver medal for it. And so I sat down with a couple of my friends who are also professional painters, and I sat there and I said, one of them, which was Michael Proctor, I was talking to him, and he's great at painting monsters and animals and fur and stuff like that. And so I sat with him and I said, so what happened that I didn't get a gold on this and whatever? And I was just curious, and you know, and the only thing, what it was, he said, you want to know what got you? He said it was your OCD. He said you made, when you were highlighting the fur, you were working too hard to make it too uniform. He said, and it's fur, and it's not supposed to be uniform, and it's not supposed to be perfect and stuff like that. And he goes, and what you did was you made the fur too uniform, and so that is what prevented you from getting a gold. He said, because other than that, the rest of the figure, the contrast on the hood and everything else, he said, is awesome. And he's like, and the only thing that killed you was that you made the fur too uniform. So my OCD prevented me from getting a higher score on something. And that's when I had to take it more seriously that obviously natural stuff like fur is not supposed to be perfect. And that's my story. Also, too, when you sit there and you don't concentrate on making something so perfect and you just slap paint on and see what happens, that's usually when the best stuff comes up and happens anyway. So there's that to factor in as well. All right, so I put the Sepia Wash in that other Tootsie, and I have some Dragon White left, which I'm going to use to highlight the teeth. Oh, thank you for following there, Tim. Remy! This is Dragon White that I'm using to highlight the teeth. And what I'm probably going to do because I'm seeing this, is my plan is I'm probably going to go back in with Sepia Wash and wash over, you know, add more in between the teeth and the gums, just to show separation. That would be the main focus on that. I'm still hearing her, Lexi, on hold with IKEA with the elevator music for the on hold, and I'm sitting here thinking to myself, with my luck, what's going to happen is I'm going to try and upload this onto YouTube, and they're going to sit there and say, "Oh, it's not stream safe," and then turn around and block the stream everywhere. It's like blocked worldwide. And I'm like, yep, that sounds about right. That's my luck right there. And anybody who knows me knows that I'm telling the truth about that. Because I always have the most screwy luck ever. And putting the sepia wash in for separation. And if it gets up in some of the teeth after you just highlighted it, no big deal, because teeth are natural and they're not supposed to be perfect. Oh, and now she's singing. Well, at least that's stream safe. I'm looking at the other side. And I'm just kind of touching on the teeth on this side. And I put the sepia wash in again just to show separation. Help it tie in. That's better. Looking under here. All right, well, since the arm is raised up there, obviously I'm not going to need to go further on the whole highlighting thing. Hi, Ollie. Hi, Oliver James. How are you? And with the mouth, I was thinking I like the way that the shade came out. I'm kind of contemplating. Oops, sorry. I'm kind of contemplating whether or not I want to do some highlighting. I mean, I should probably do at least a little. So what I think I'm going to do on that is I think I'm going to take some of the Reaper Fair Skin, and I think I'm going to mix it with the P3 in the Cardiac Flesh. So that the original color is back in there. Hi, Ollie. What you doing climbed up on my chair? Huh? Are you having fun? My cat's like right behind my head. He climbs up on the chair and he rests on the back of it while I paint. He does this pretty often. And the thing is, I gotta be careful when I move because he's also a very large cat. He's very tall, very, very tall and lanky. And he weighs quite a bit because he's so big and tall. So he's actually too big to hang on the back of my chair like that. So I try to be careful when I move so he doesn't hurt himself. Actually, I'm not going to want to use that dry brush. It did not feel right. Where is the other brush? Oh, I sit there, I'm like, where did I put my other brush? And the butt of it was hanging out in the water cup. Well, see, ladies and gentlemen, this is what Gen Con prep does to you. It fries your brain. This is your brain. This is your brain on Gen Con. Any questions? It looks like just a fried egg. And I'm just kind of touching, just dot, 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 not trying to, and being very gentle. Gentle and being specific, but not too specific. And because it's like, okay, well, we know highlighting would hit here. We know it would hit here, but we don't want to go too crazy. So we're just going to, yeah. Yeah, see, I didn't want to do too much. So I'm just going to kind of leave that be. Because I like that. That came out, that's good enough for me, just to be honest. So let's see what we did here. I feel like the fur on the tummy needs a little more oomph. And I'm going back in with Dragon White. And this time, though, instead of doing the dry brush, I'm going to use my regular brush because I'm just going to randomly hit some areas. And what happens is if it pools, you just go in with a clean brush and just brush over. There, that's better. Because I just cleaned the brush, so that's how that paint ended up kind of pooling the way it did. And I'm just randomly touching. Yeah, see, that makes a difference. There we go. And it pooled a little in there, so I'm grabbing that. Alright, so I got some of that out, and then I'm going to go back in with the Sepia Wash. And what I'm trying to do with that is any parts where the paint might have pooled, or if it isn't dark enough in some areas, I'm just going back in with the wash so that way it kind of fixes that, keeps it looking like it's all tied in together. And I'm looking at the fingers because I am going to do some highlighting on the fingers and then paint the claws, and I'm seeing if there's anything else left. The stone I'm going to kind of leave alone because I just wanted to lightly dry brush on it. I might... Let me see here. Some white. There we go. I went back in with the Dragon White. Again, was taking some leftover paint and looking for areas of opportunity. And I'm just randomly hitting on. I said hit on. Randomly hitting on some spots on the fur. So some spots on the fur are going to have some white on it. Just to add a little more oomph. Okay, see, that works to me. Yay! Okay, I'm okay with that. Alright, so all that's left that I see here okay, you gotta highlight those a little. I don't honestly even know what those are supposed to be. Look like there's kind of like horns that come out, but they stick out, so they need to have some highlighting either way. Just double checking myself. Alright, so the hands are pretty much all we have to work with left. Okay, cool. And then I gotta get ready to leave for work. Fun! I think I'm going to use the Skeleton Bone. Which seems to be a very, very useful color. There's still some orange left over from the fur. But that's okay, because I'm just going to want that all to tie in together anyway, sort of. At least to some degree. Alright, since that's underneath, obviously it's not going to require a lot of highlighting. I'm adding some white to the Skeleton Bone. Mixing it together. So you see why I was sitting there thinking about doing the claws black, because when you sit there and if I did the natural color, which would have consisted of like bone colors and highlighted up to white, it wouldn't look like it had enough oomph going on with it. So I figured if I do black claws or something, or walnut brown is like a brown black from Reaper. I figured if I did like one of those two things or something, that would be better. Or I can just sit here and take black and mix it with a little bit of muddy brown. That's Reaper. Thinning down the paint. Adding a little more black just in case, because I just wanted the brown just to kind of sort of show through, but not be the, yeah, because I want to lean more towards black. There we go. Here's what it looks like on the palette. Hold on, let me grab the palette for you. Doo-doo. Hold this guy. And that's the color right there. And I'm moving my mat around, and I'm throwing things around. And it's probably going to take a couple of coats to fully have some coverage, but yeah, see, it looks a lot better. I'm glad I decided to go the route of doing really dark claws. Now, some of the way the claws are sculpted are a little screwy looking, but again, if it's just tabletop, you don't have to go nuts and agonize over it, so good thing about that. My cat actually looks like he's supervising and watching the stream. Wow, so since there's only a few hours left on Cthulhu Wars, I guess that means I'll have to start live stream painting other stuff, which is but you know, man, this whole live streaming thing was a much bigger learning curve than I expected. A lot of YouTube video watching and watching other Twitch channels and trying to learn stuff, and there's a lot to do on these things. I gotta fill in this spot real quick with some Sepia Wash. There was nothing shadowing where the fist was there. And more for here. Okay. Oh boy. He looks mean. I'm doing that brown black here. Because like I said, I don't honestly know what that's supposed to be, but in case it's supposed to be eyes, then at least there's something there. I'm coating again on there. Okay. yellow there to fix, because I went a little over on the brown there. There we go. Oh my goodness. Oh, thank you. So I'm going to say not bad on this. It's tabletop painted. It's a quick paint job, just that you can get to right to playing. And we sat there and base coated it with most of it with Style Res primer. So it basically, if it weren't for the fact that I did it with the zenithal priming, which is fine, you can still do that too. I could have still also, after dull coating it, just straight went over it with the Style Res primer. So yeah, I think we can call these two friends done. So yeah, got the Gnopf Keh and Gug, G-U-G. Mr. Gug. I'll post some pictures of these up, later, tomorrow or something before I go. But yeah, so a few hours left on the Cthulhu Wars Kickstarter, CthulhuWars.com. And you can get these ones. These were the collector's ones from 2013. And actually, supposedly they got an option there so that you can still get the other ones too, so that you can still get them. So yeah, be sure to check that out. And be sure to check out Metalhead Minis on the web, metalheadminis.com. And also, don't forget to follow us on YouTube and on Facebook. Of course, obviously follow us on Twitch too, but the Facebook and the YouTube, because that's what we'll primarily be using for while we're at Gen Con and stuff. The Facebook will be mostly for all the fun stuff, and then like for the real big stuff, if you see everything would be on the YouTube one. So it's that's youtube.com/metalheadminis. And I'll be sure to put the links here in the chat for you. And that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. So thanks for hanging with me while I'm, right before I get ready for work. But yeah, I gotta hit the road in like 10 minutes. And have yourselves a great day. Can't wait. Looking forward to see some of you at Gen Con, whoever's going to be there. Have a good day.